our profession. She's a horrible person.
Robin Brady, nice to meet you. Good to see you.
Horrible.
Uncle.
Bienvenue à tous sur le practice de l'Ibis Golf Club et nous sommes en compagnie de Martin Hall. Martin Hall, bonjour.
Michel, comment ça va?
Ça va très très bien.
And that's about all the French I've got, other than jouez bien, I hope.
Martin, your French is very good. And
I don't know about that.
Thank you for joining us for the Serie Birdie. You will watch in France and in Europe and everywhere French is understanding. We really appreciate your work on Golf Channel, and we watch you all time, every day. So you are very impressive because you have a lot of passion on you, but passion with hard work. That's what I wanted to do to introduce you. So thank you.
Yeah, no, for me, Michel, I mean, it's golf is a game I've always loved. Not a game I found easy. Some people find it easy, not many. But for me, très difficile,
right.
Most definitely, no question about that. And so what the ball does in the air has always intrigued me. I did try and play for a few years early on. I played a good number of events on the European Tour in the late 1970s, and got to see some of the greats then, Seve, and grew up playing with Woosnam and Sandy Lyle and Faldo, so I saw some great players. But for me, teaching golf it is helping players of any standard. You know, because I do this television thing at the moment, people think, oh, I only teach celebrities or really good players. For me, it doesn't matter who the player is. It could be someone who's just starting. If they have a good attitude, I'm happy to try and help. And I think the laws, I will say this, the laws of what make the ball do what it does, they're no different for someone who's 67 years of age than they are from a tour pro who's 22 on tour.
Sometimes we can also say that a mistake from a pro is the same as a mistake from not a beginner but a normal player. But of course, with a normal player, the fault is more visible and it's more seen with a good player.
Yeah, I think it is important for the people who are watching or people around the world to know that every golfer struggles with this game. It doesn't matter whether it's Jordan Spieth or Rory McIlroy or Lydia Ko, or it matters not who the player is. They all find golf difficult at some time or another. And you might watch a Tiger Woods hitting balls on the range and you might think it's fantastic, but for him there'll be some that he doesn't like. So we all have this dispersion of shots. We all have a range of shots. No one's got it perfect and no one ever will.
It's not easy, donc ce n'est pas facile pour tout le monde. Même Martin nous dit que pour les meilleurs du monde, eh bien, ça reste un sport avec une grande difficulté que l'on tente bien sûr tous de maîtriser. Martin, the first question I want to ask you is, when I arrive in your office,
Playground,
you have a lot of teaching
toys.
To help people to improve their game, and I saw you during the week, and you are very, very focused on it, and you use some. It's a good surprise for me because in France now, pro goes very easily into technology and into, of course, some technology important, but they forget totally all this material. We used to have this 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and now we do not see it anymore. What is your point of view?
You know, Michel, I have a very strong point of view on that. I mean, I enjoy the technology, whether it's launch monitors or force plates, I enjoy it. I don't trust it 100%. I really don't. And so whoever you are out there selling launch monitors, force plates, I would say the information is very valuable. I would say, some launch monitors, they are good, but they're not God. They don't have all the answers. I don't think they have limitations. All the technology stuff has certain limitations. You know, the ones that tell you what happened at impact, they are giving you a snapshot of the collision of the ball and the club at impact that doesn't even last that long. Now, to me, trying to control impact is very dangerous. John Jacobs said to me years ago, you want to have a good impact, yes you really do, but if you try and control impact, you will get burned. And I totally agree with that. You want to do things with the grip and the setup and the backswing and the top and the finish to try and have a good impact, but you don't do a good impact. I think that's really important. Impact is really a consequence of everything that's going on during the motion. When all is said and done, we're making a motion. Gosh, at its simplest level, we've got a ball and we've got a stick. And you can go back to caveman days. Must hit ball with stick. But that's what we're doing, must hit ball with stick, and then we get a, you know, we get a resultant ball slide. So all the stuff I have here, that it is ways for me to have people understand either how the body should move, or where the club should be in space around them, or how they would accelerate the club. My comment to any teaching pros who use only technology, just technology, nothing but technology, is what will you do when your technology breaks down? What will you do when you have a power cut? I like technology, I really do. It's great for research, it's great, but it's not for everybody. I teach a large variety of players, different standards, different ages. I mean, you know, Ibis, wonderful. We have young people here, we have people in middle age, we have people who are 80 years of age. They are not in the slightest bit interested in their smash factor. They want to know, did the ball do better? That's all they want to know. So I think technology is very helpful. I wouldn't want to teach without it, but I don't want to teach with only technology. I think you want a very rounded approach. I like the video, I like the technology, I like the swing planes, I want to have a very well-rounded approach to teaching, which is what I try and do. And I'm not prepared, I must say this, I'm not prepared. All those that came before me, John Jacobs, Ernest Jones, David Ledbetter, Butch Harmon, they didn't have technology, and they were great teachers, they still are, yes, they help people play great golf. So I'm not about to throw away what I learned from them, not just because technology is there, not at all.
Thank you. It can be more clear than what you explained. It was really great to hear that. And I hope it will help now pro in France and everywhere in the world to have a general approach and to use everything you can to help people.
Yeah, I would say use everything. To me, the master carpenter or the master painter, the carpenter, the one that can handle any situation, build any cabinet, the mechanic that can fit any car, he has a lot of tools. He doesn't just have one.
Yes.
And I think you have to have a lot of tools in this game. It's a very hard game, but you need a lot of avenues, a lot of ways to describe how to get somebody to make a swing change for the better.
When you do a golf lesson, what are you looking for in your priority?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and certainly my priorities have changed over the years. Early on, I'd have to say, I was, a reasonably good player. So early on, for me, I was determined to get everybody to hit a draw shot. I don't think that's terrible, but that used to be my number one priority. It is not my number one priority anymore. My number one priority, having taught out here for 20 years and well before that, the number one priority, the thing that will help most players play better, is solid contact. And for me, solid contact would be defined as hitting the ball in the middle of the club. I used to think if you hit a fade, it was a weak way to play. And then the more you look at it, you find that some of history's best players actually hit a slight fade. So I would say solid contact. When the ball sits on the ground, I think ball turf contact. I actually think it's ball and turf, not ball then turf. I think you hit the ball on the ground at the same time and then the divot shows up after. I think if you try and go ball then turf, you actually get a bit too much ahead of it. But I think solid contact, I think working on skill rather than style. Style is what it looks like. Style is, are the hands high, are the hands low, is the right elbow in. Skill is the ability to get a predetermined outcome. And so I would say my number one priority when I'm teaching anybody is solid contact. That's number one. The number two priority would be to look at the pattern. There is always a pattern to the ball flight. You could bring Rory McIlroy here, but there would be a pattern. If I watched him hit enough golf balls, there would be a pattern. It's too high, it's too low, it's off the toe, it's off the heel. Divots are too deep, divots are too shallow. So I try and identify the pattern. And then having, looked at whether it's solid or not, having identified the pattern, then I'll put it on video, and then I look for what I call the smoking gun. I'm not looking, if you hit some balls now and we went in and we looked in the studio on video, I'm not there to show you, by the way, did you know you don't look like Jason Day? That's not what I'm there to show you. I would be trying to show you, well, the divots are a bit deep because of, the flight is a bit high because of, the ball curves a bit left because of. And whenever I'm on video, I try and find the model. I have hundreds of models in my collection, but I find the model to suit the point I want to make. I don't want everybody to swing like Jason Day or Jordan Spieth, unless that's what they need. So those are my priorities. And then you get into sequence and efficiency. Just one word on that. You see, you've started me. You can't shut me up. I know it's your birthday, but you can't shut me up. You can't stop me. I'm off now. But people talk about the kinematic sequence and it's good for efficiency. Do you know what's more important than efficiency? Effective. Effective is way more important than efficiency. I mean, it's nice to be efficient, but if you're efficient, meaning you get all the energy out of the club head and you hit it straight into the ocean, it's no good. No. Effective is more important than efficient. We'd like them both, but if I have to choose one, I choose effective.
Effective. Okay. Now you build a solid golf stroke and a solid swing on a driving range with all your players. But now, let's go on a golf course. On a golf course, we have to create shots. How can you help people to create shots? Because even if you have a great practice, a great driving range, it's not the golf course.
No, it certainly isn't.
So how can you help them?
Well, I think there's a number of things. I mean, first of all, I think when you go on the golf course with most players, even good ones, and you ask them what I will do when I'll sort of be caddy for them, if you like. And as I'm going around before they hit the shot, I'll say, well, what are you trying to do here? And some of the things that come out are like, wow, that didn't see that one, They're not seeing the shot the way that I would think they should see it. I think most people are too aggressive. I worked for Jack Nicklaus for 7 years, and he would say he won most of his majors by being anything but aggressive. He was not aggressive, he was conservative. He said the last 9 holes of any major championship, he was probably more conservative than anybody. He would hit to the middle of the green. He would take a club, a 4-iron, perhaps off the tee to get in the fairway. He told me that he would take whatever club he felt certain he would get in the fairway, even if it was a 5-iron off the tee sometimes.
Okay. Yes, we heard this already. To put the ball in play, even if it's with a 3-iron, but the
hybrid,
ball
something like that.
Yes, the ball is in play.
Yeah, the ball has to be in play. I think people have unrealistic expectations when they go on the golf course. So I think you have to know what your expectations are. I think you have to know how many meters you hit the golf ball, and you don't choose your club based on the very best shot you hit on the very best day of the year. This is a 6-iron. You hit your 6-iron. You know what your average 6-iron is, so you know how many meters that goes. I think you do that. Hank Haney has certainly been an influence on me. I like Hank Haney's plan for golf, which he used with Tiger, but he used with everyone. I think if you do the following, you will score well. Number 1, no penalty shots off the tee, which means get the ball in play. Take whatever club, develop whatever swing, but no penalty shots off the tee. Number 2, get the easy chip shots up and in, up and down in 2. And number 3, no 3-putts.
No 3-putts, okay.
Now, if you do those 3 things, no penalty shots off the tee, easy ones up and in, and no 3-putts, you'll find your scores won't be too high and you'll have a lot of low ones. And it is simplistic, but if you had that in your mind before you went out to play, that would probably help a lot of people. Can I get round the golf course without any penalty shots off the tee? Not trying to hit 14 perfect drives, but can I develop a swing, construct a swing, have my thoughts and lines? No penalty shots off the tee.
Donc ne pas être trop agressif sur le parcours, et l'expérience avec Jack Nicklaus, because here we are in a golf course, and of course you see sometimes Jack Nicklaus, and you can talk with him about this, to stay in play, whatever you are in score during a tournament, put the ball in play, not to be too aggressive, avoid three putt of course, and to be in a great position for chipping if with strategy, of course.
Yeah, I mean the strategy, Jack always said to me, he played the golf course from the hole back to the tee. When he stood on the tee, he thought about where the flag was, and then he thought about, well, where would be the best side of the fairway to hit into the flag, and then where did he need hit off the... And Tiger told me the same, that Tiger said he plays from he looks at a hole from the flag back to the tee. Most people don't do that.
So, anticipation.
Yes, absolutely.
In French. Now, Martin, the mental side in one word for you.
Yeah, the mental side for me in one word, neutral thinking. Not positive thinking, neutral thinking. Carl Morris he's an Englishman from Manchester. And I mean, he wouldn't call himself a sports psychologist, he would call himself a performance specialist, and certainly he is. Any of his stuff is really worth listening to, Carl Morris. But he would say positive thinking is ridiculous. I agree. This idea, you must think positive. If you stand on the first tee and you're saying, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, just right behind that is a voice saying, ha ha, who are you kidding? No, you can't do it. So what Carl Morris has all his players do, and I have all my players do this, Carl Morris has this wonderful question that he has people ask themselves, and I call it the golden rule, the golden question mental. No matter what shot you're playing, no matter who you are, if you ask this question, you will always get the right answer. Is it possible I could hit a good shot here? Now the answer will always be yes, and you won't be lying to yourself. So and he calls that neutral thinking, not positive thinking. I like neutral thinking. Neutral thinking, okay. Rather than positive thinking.
Neutre, rester neutre.
Yeah.
Realist. Can I do this shot or not? That's what you mean?
Well, I think to me that's another situation. That's understanding your limitations. I think that the golden question, is it possible I hit a good shot here? Okay. The answer will always be yes. I mean, the limitations are, I've had, such a wonderful journey with golf and been around so many great players. Annika Sorenstam has been a friend of mine for many, many years. I think the best lady player ever to have played the game by far. And she would always say she would never play a shot, no matter where it was, no matter what situation she was in the tournament. She would never play a shot unless she had at least a 70%, a 7 out of 10 chance that she could pull it off, that she could be successful. Okay. I think that's a great rule to play by. If you wouldn't bet 70% of your family fortune that you could pull this shot off, then you probably shouldn't be playing it. The 1 in 100 shot is like buying a lottery ticket. It's just not a good idea.
Great. Now for you, the best player on tour and why? Not especially the number one, but of course, with all the people you know and you met in your career, of course there is a lot, of course. But if there is one that it's all time in your mind, who is it? Who is he?
Do you know? I don't know that I have an answer for you there, Michel. I mean, I don't. People ask who's got the best swing. I don't look at it that way. Who's the best player? I think I'd have to say the best player of all time is Jack Nicklaus, just because of his record. Okay. But I think when I would do work with Jack, he would always say in his clinics, there are two pieces to being a great player. One is you have to have a really good repetitive effective swing. Mm-hmm. That's number one. Number two, so your technique has to be good. And number two, you have to be your tactics, your thoughts around the golf course have to be really good. So you need one technique, you need two tactics. And he said his career was great more because of number two than it was because of number one. And people put all their effort into number one, into the technique. the tactics, the thought, managing your way, thinking your way around the golf course. I think people would say Jack Nicklaus was the best, and Tiger Woods is a very close second, no doubt. And will he surpass Jack's record? I don't know. But it'll be fun. I hope he's. We hope he continues to play. That's for sure, and hope he continues to play well. And if it all ended today for Tiger, he still won 14 majors, so he's had a fantastic career. But he is also very tactical. I've spent an amount of time fairly close to him, listening to him talk. He's very tactical. His favourite golf course is St Andrews, the old course, because he said just a 5 mile an hour shift in the wind can change the course, and you have to be so aware of it. So the subtleties. But yeah, Jack would be my favourite golfer of all time.
Like you are one of my favorite teacher in the world. For me, you.
Well,
you know what?
Nice
The art of communication you have is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well,
it's a really source of inspiration to see someone like you to have this generosity with people.
Well, that's very kind. That gives me goosebumps. But somebody said to me years ago that one of the things you have to do if you teach is you have to entertain, you have to educate, you have to motivate. And I'm sure you're very good at it. And I think that's what we all have to do as teachers. You entertain, you educate, you motivate. You need all three of those. I work at my craft very hard. I don't ever think I've got it. I don't think it's a journey that doesn't have an end. I'm always trying to get a bit better. Like Coach John Wooden said that, as long as I'm breathing, I ain't done learning.
I like John Wooden. Great coach. Yes.
Fantastic.
And Vince Lombardi also.
Absolutely.
Huh?
Yeah.
I know I know the great coach in United States. I have a lot of work on them when I was in study of coaching.
Yeah.
I learn a lot with John Wooden.
Yeah.
The pyramid of success.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Vince Lombardi, which is a man of a lot of intensity. But intensity is dangerous in golf. We have to stay calm on the golf course.
Yeah, to play you certainly do.
Yeah.
Getting too excited doesn't usually work for very many people. I'll tell you one thing that Tiger said to me one time that I thought was interesting. Over his career, we've seen him periodically get very very excited, and at other times not so. And I asked, why is that? And he said, well, he knows where he needs to be emotionally on a scale of 1 to 10. He knows where he needs to be to play really well. And when you see him getting really, really excited, it actually means he feels a bit flat. So it's when he's not quite where he wants to be, then it's the and other times when he knows he's right where he should be, you won't see any response. That's like a sliding scale. It's going up and down. And to anybody, to any young player who's watching this, to any young teacher who's watching this, or to anybody who happens to watch this, I would say just pursue your dream. That's what I did. Someone once said to me, work on your gifts and they'll make room for you. I didn't anticipate, having a television show that went around the world. I didn't anticipate people from France coming to interview me. I was just a kid from England who loved golf and wanted to be a good teacher, and that's still who I am and what I do. So I'm happy to help and wish you well on your journey.
Okay, Martin, it was so great and so rich to meet you, to hear you. It's like a lesson for me today. I hope you are not too expensive for me today, because it was a great lesson to hear you. Do you want to say something to France and to Europe and to everyone who?
Well, first of all, allez les bleus! I know that one. I know that one. What I would say, I'm an Englishman who's made his career in America. It's been wonderful for me. I love golf, I love traveling, I love helping anybody who wants to listen to what I say. I do not think I've got all the answers by any means. I don't think anybody does. I would say, whether it's playing or whether it's presenting as a golf professional, whatever you do in life, if I can affect anybody in this, it's great for me. Just always make sure you're prepared. Prepare the people who are really good. It may seem like it's casual, but they've prepared. And so I'd like to close with this from a very famous American football player, probably not very well known overseas in France, or his name was Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice, yes. Jerry Rice was a receiver.
Yes.
Yes, I know.
Fantastic footballer.
In football, yes.
But his thing that got him up every morning, his thing that was the fire that burned within him was this. He said, I will do today what others will not, so tomorrow I can do what others cannot. That's how I try and lead my life.
Bravo. Great respect. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup, Martine, pour cet superbe entretien avec vous. Et God bless you.
Au revoir, mes amis. That's all I've got.
Au revoir à tous. Parfait. Bravo, bravo Martine. Félicitations.
My
Bravo.
pleasure.
Bravo.
My pleasure.